In this video, we're going to cover a popular field which is called the results box. The results box is a way of seeing data in a different block, um, but without having to go there using a tab or whatever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this full width. This is the block we were working on in the end of the last video where we were moving all parts to one location. And I'm going to make that, we'll say, full width, and then bring this to a quarter of the size or a third of the size. And next I will add a new element, and I'm going to add the field called results box. Well, actually we'll call it livestock. So up until now I've been constantly going to a different screen just to show you the results in the livestock, but now we don't have to. So now what we're going to do is pick a field called the results box. So what block are we want to look at? It's the livestock list. How are we searching for the data in that block? We're going to use the part number. So the part number in this block needs to be equal to the item name in livestock list. You can do as many searches criteria as you want, and they'll all add up to refine your search, but we'll just stick with one for now, and maybe in a few minutes we can add one more with a location or something. And the next thing we're going to do is decide what fields we want to see. So we want to see all three of them really, quantity and location. And I'm just going to put in one more thing where if set one color. So if the value is 0, I'm going to say the color is red. And we'll submit that field. So now we'll go back to the front end, and we're going to have a search for part 003. And as you can see, the values are coming up from the livestock. So this is handy because we now no longer have to be navigating different tabs. Let's just make a few changes. So I'm going to change these to buttons again. In the previous video, we changed them to happen when you submit the form. While I'm here, I'm just going to do a little tidying up. So you can hide the labels for fields. So by clicking parameters, and we see hide the label for this field, and I'll do the same. I'll click parameters over create new record, and again hide the label for this field. So let's check out part 003. We have 2 records for that, and let's say we're going to move that to location 30. Delete the records first. So now there's no records for part 003, and then create the new record, and now it loads them. So as you can see, the results box automatically gets updated as you make changes that affect it. So you can actually use this to create new records as well in the warehouse. So let's just do completely independent of these ones. We'll do another cross block. We'll say add new row. And this is going to be a cross block. We're going to affect the livestock list. We're going to add a new record. Choose when the action happens when we click a button. Add now. And it's the part number, which is going to be item name. the location. We'll use the location to move to field. It doesn't really matter. And the quantity. Total. Well, we don't have. I'm going to create a new quantity field. So I'll just submit this first so we can save it. And I'll just say quantity, just to avoid confusion with what I've done on the left. And I'll move this up as well. I'm going to edit this and I'm going to hide the label. And let's go to the front end. Oh yeah, we just need to update the cross block to add the quantity now as well. So quantity is going to remote field as quantity as well. So let's say part 003, the total is 53. Let's say location 100. And let's add a new row, 20, add row. And then we see our 20 here. If I press return on this again, we get our 73. Let's do another one. We'll add another row in the same location. We'll add 80. And as you can see, our total is not getting updated without us taking an action. We can do something about that. So we can basically also add the rule here. The same rule that happens when you press return here, we can actually add it here instead. So what I'm going to do is go to part number and rules, and I'm going to delete this one. So as you can see, we're seeing that we're better off adding the rule to this results box instead, because that's when something has loaded. So populate another field with total from elsewhere, livestock list, the quantity, the total, to calculate total of numeric, and we're going to use the part number and item name as the match to search. So now let's go part 003. This time the total appeared only because we loaded the results box. I would say location 101, and let's just add 5 to that one. And it updated the total. Add another 5, and it's updating the total here, which is very nice. And now we can carry on back here and say, well, let's move all part 003 to a new location. So let's delete the records that are all part 003. Now they're all gone, and press create new record. And there we are. So in this case, the total went to 0 because this loaded and there was no records left, so we got 0. So there would have been probably a different way for me to do that to get a copy of the original amount, so that we can say our total was whatever that previous number was. And as you can see, we can just continue on adding. I'll show you one or two more things in the results box. So we'll edit this field, and we can actually order things by different fields. So we can order it by quantity, for instance. So when I press submit and I come back here, part 003, and this time it's ordering by the quantity. I'll just add a few more just so we can be 100% sure we're happy with it. Let's say 12, and let's just say 6. So as you can see, the data is getting loaded this time by the quantity, not by the order that the value was created. And the next thing I'll show you in the results box is the final feature, which is the delete. So when I press submit and we put back in our part, you can actually delete records too. In future videos, we'll be talking about roles and permissions and all kind of things that allows you to delete values. This is a pretty simple way to delete, but the problem with this is this doesn't have any permissions or roles associated with it. So we'd recommend generally only to use this if you know that the person that's accessing this block is an administrator. But in our next module, we will be covering admin, roles, permissions, all that kind of stuff to give you a better feel of how you can control who can do what basically. But what I'll do for the meantime is I'll just delete one and we can see the value gets updated, the total is getting updated as well. So that's a summary of the results box. What's quite powerful about it is it can be used for invoicing, PO systems, stock systems, anything that requires you to be looking at data in other blocks. And I suppose it's very handy because you could have, for instance, an invoice system, and instead of a part number, you could have the invoice number, and you could have your line items here and your total for that invoice. So it's quite a popular field. That's it for now in this video. The next video, we're going to be looking at sending mail alerts, which would be then enough to allow you to build your own inventory system with everything you've learned in all these videos in this module. Thank you. Goodbye.